And some will maybe a little review from some of you that attended the webinar this morning. But I think all in all, you'll be happy with the outcome. So the agenda, we'll talk about the PimIP, how to create virtual three-way switches, best practices at the same time. We'll also talk about the new custom engraving forms that comes with our new keypad, the 7-button keypad and the 6-button. We'll show you how to edit multiple devices at once. We will go over the TEC, and we'll also talk about the input and output modules, how we can use those for some conditional logic, and troubleshooting made easy, and how to document your network communication. I will be switching between ApptStart and the presentation, and we'll actually jump into my house so you can kind of see some of the things that I do, and we can actually show you how well a repeater will work and how it doesn't, and things along that nature. One thing I would like to remind everybody is to please create an account on our website at tcslighting.com under our resources page. From there, on the back end, depending on your status with us as a authorized dealer, certified integrator, distributor, rep, basically on the resources page, when you log in, there's a variety of different things that are available, such as PowerPoint presentations in their raw form and PDF form, videos and webinars, pricing and other forms and program files and all kinds of fun things for you guys there, guys and gals. So one thing, about designing your systems, come on, computer, the rules to success. We always recommend a phase coupler on every panel that's in a house. It's a very inexpensive piece, and it's not worth phone call if somebody calls you back because somebody said, hey, a light didn't turn on. If you're in a house over 5,000 square feet, or you have 3 electrical panels in the house, we recommend a split phase repeater. The nice thing about the repeater is that in your advanced communications, you can actually do a test from the repeater to all devices within your home. To me, that's kind of like the king standing at the top of the mountain asking everybody, can you hear me? And if you can't, well, then you can do your diagnostics a little bit better than doing everything from one, talking to one person, talking to the other person, back and forth and things like that. So repeater's a very good thing in a very large home. If you are working in 3-phase power, 120, 208, 120, 240, you must have a 3-phase repeater. And we'll kind of discuss a little bit more of that here. And bottom line, you want signal strength of 13 lesters or higher. The bigger the lester, the better. And I'd like to see 20 or higher in the way of signal strength. So let's, with that in review, I have a PimIP here. It's plugged into this demo board. It's a new device for us. A lot of guys have been using it. Some of my beta testers and things like that, they're like, why didn't you come out with this sooner? Makes life a lot easier. The nice thing is it gives us now an internet way to access a UPV PCS system. All you need to do is plug it into your router, and within ApptStart, let me jump over here to my ApptStart. So this is continuing on from the class this morning. Under Tools, Powerline Interface Connect, we will actually go, you have a choice now of the RS-232 PIM or an IP-based PIM. If I choose the PimIP, when I plug this PIM in, I really don't know what the IP address of it is, so we have this little discovery program that will go out and actually find the PIM for you on your network and show you the network ID in which your router or your customer's router assigned it. Now, one of the things you do need to do is we recommend that you give it a static IP. So I can open up my network settings here, and normally this button here would be checked, so that obtain network settings automatically. But what you need to do is you can either leave it at the IP address that you have, it's been assigned, or give it an IP address outside your DHCP zone. And then obviously put in your subnet mask and your default gateway. And when you save that, it actually goes and reboots the device if you've changed it for the first time. So that being said, we now know what the IP address of the device is. It's also showing its MAC address. And I can come in here and put in my IP address. 2101 is the TCP port that we do use. And if you're going to do port forwarding, so you can access this device from outside of the network, if I'm going to get to it that way, if I'm off-site, I've done my port forwarding, I can put in what my, port forwarding address is and access it as well. But I can click on the connect, and I am now connected to the PIM via wirelessly in my in the house. Now, the nice thing, one of the nice things about that is that doesn't mean you're tethered to the wall anymore. If you're doing large jobs and you have a front-end controller communicating to the devices, you can plug the PimIP into the outlet that the PIM is from that device. And now you can actually get a real good view of seeing what's going on all around there. So from that point, what I recommend is doing a site suitability and undergoing the tools, and we go and we look at our signal and noise meter to kind of see if there's any kind of noise being sent within the on the job site. Obviously, there's no signals because nobody's sending any commands. But if I start sending signals, you can see we're at 30, and that's well within tolerances of the devices. So let's jump through that. So the PimIP has been a great addition to us, and we are doing a webinar later about the eKeypad app. We'll actually be able to show you live how the app works, things along that nature, what you need to do to set it up, and we're pretty excited about it. There's two apps available. One is a $15 app. The other is a $99 app. And the $99 app does a whole lot more, obviously. So one of the things I think from advanced programming is creating virtual three-way switches. And what I can do here is within a switch, my living room cans, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up on the transmit component table. When I double tap my living room can switch, I'm going to have it turn on my outside landscape light. Now, the mode that I can use is a link activator. So basically, every time I turn the switch on, it would turn on the outside lights. But I really don't want that to happen because I might just want to have it happen. I want to still just turn my living room lights on without turning the outside lights on. So what I do is I change my mode to being custom. And what that does, I can now choose when I single tap it, what do I want it to do? When I double tap it, what do I want it to do? When I hold it, and when I release it, what do I want it to do? So I can actually say, upon a single tap, do nothing. Upon a double tap, do deactivate. And I can choose any one of the command functions that we have available. Upon holding, do nothing. Upon release, do nothing. I'm doing the same on the bottom, but I'm having the command be deactivate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go program the device to do that. And I think I still need to, I'm going to quickly, not multiple, all of them done, landscapes. Yep, okay. So at this point, if I come over to my living room light, I can turn on my light and I can turn my light off. I'll manually turn off my outside lights. But if I double tap my living room lights, it will then go and send a signal out to the landscape lights to turn them on. I can still turn my living room light on and off manually, but then if I double tap it, I can then turn off my outside lights as well. I use that application in a couple of different places in my house. On our stairwell coming upstairs, you know, I've got a standard three-way switch. And we also have another light down the hall that anytime we come up the stairs, we'd like to have that light on too. So I've actually done it every time we turn on that stairs light, it turns on the hall light. And I also use it in my garage. Now, one of the nice things about having the device become a transmitter, a lot of people say, hey, Scott, why don't you have a 2-button keypad? I do. It's called a switch. So, you know, one of the nice things is under the rocker switch, I can have, you know, I don't have to use the lighting level. I can actually say upon a single tap, a lighting load is not used. And upon a double tap, I could have the light only go to, say, 70%. So I can do a whole variety of different things with my switch. And these are kind of some of the features that some people don't know about or haven't explored. So, you know, the other thing is I could leave this alone. When I turn it on, it comes to 90. On a double tap, you know, it doesn't do anything. So, and if I actually program this thing real quick, what that would do is it would only have my light be able to be turned on and off to the level. And if I double tap it, it's not going to change the lighting level, right? And I can still use my switch, and it won't affect my light. So if I said, you know, set this light to come on at, say, 70%, even though I double tap it, normally the switch would snap to 100%. It's going to leave my lighting level alone. It's just going to go and transmit the scene in which I set up on the transmit component table. So three-way switches are a neat thing. Now, some of the things on best practices to save time. You know, we've got a variety of choices of how to do ApptStart. And the PulseWorks systems design we kind of ran through a little bit earlier. But when I start a file, I can actually start there and it enables me to create a simple system with the rooms, the names, the devices. So what I'll do here is I'm going to save this real quick and just kind of show you some things, and then we'll come back to this this file. Actually, I need to shut that down to get to there first. So sorry here. Come on. That's my setup screen. There's my window. Start bar. There are too many things open here today, folks. Start bar. There we go. So when I start ApptStart, I can say begin by using the PulseWorks Systems Designer. All right. And what this enables me to do is work either online or offline, being that I'm connected here. I can put in the client's name, the address, put in my name. You can fill in the network name. You know, I can fill in my network ID. I can put in a new password. We do again recommend to erase the existing configuration, and you can also set the default fade rate for all your dimmers to something up to 30 seconds. So I personally like 3.3 seconds, a little more elegant. You also then drop in the rooms you're going to use. You know, so, you know, kitchen, living room, and outside. So this kind of takes you through the steps of filling in all the rooms that are going to have devices in it. I can then, in the kitchen, what is my device going to be? So I've got my cans. Well, let's call it the islands. Okay? And now I can pick any one of the PulseWorks PCS devices These are the most popular items that are on here. I didn't put everything on it, but I can pick it as a wall switch. I can also add a keypad, and I can come down to choose what kind of keypad I have. I have a KPC6 in the kitchen. And the living room, I'm going to have a keypad. And for those that want to save some time, I can now use my keyboard. I can just hit the K, go to the keypad 6, hit it again, keypad 7, keypad 8, KPLD, KPLR, all of that. So I got a keypad 7. And I also have the cans in the living room I'm controlling with a wall switch. I can hit W again, give it WS1DL, WS1R, WS1D. Move on to next. Outside, I have my landscape. And I'm using the wall switch. Now after that, the next section is what are all the scenes that we're going to be doing and controlling. Now there's 3 types of scenes you're going to use. You've got a zone, so I've got the living room cans. I've got the island light, and I have the landscape lights. That's a zone, so a button can now control a device. I also might have an area scene, which might be watch TV. I'm going to have breakfast. I might have morning. I might have good night. Now, so those are kind of areas. So it might be, within the kitchen, I might have multiple scenes, things along that nature. But I might also have global scenes, which could be all off or all lights, actually. And I can either activate or deactivate that. So instead of creating 2 scenes, meaning activate all lights to 100% or deactivate all lights to 0, I can just make a scene called all lights, and the activate function, you put it to where you want them to come on to, and the deactivate function is going to put them all to 0. I might have a global of, I've got a pretty global scene in my house. It's called G Goodnight. And Georgette, when she goes to bed, G done, it turns all the lights in the house off except the ones in the living room, because I might stay and watch TV a little bit longer than when she goes to bed. But then I can have a real global scene that is done, which basically shuts everything in the house off. So we basically list all of our scenes out here, and I get up to 250 scenes in this. And the response of what are my keypads going to do, I can now quickly assign the scenes that I've just created. So in the kitchen, the on button, I might want to have the island light activate or turn on. I might want to have the off button do the island light and have it deactivate. All right. Now, the A, B, and C, I can still use my keyboard here, and I might have this do morning, and that's going to be more of a scene. I might have breakfast. That might be a toggle. And again, I can use the first letter of the scene name and or the mode to get my changes happening. I might have watch TV here. That would be an activate. D might be G done. That would be an activate. And I'll have my up be a bright. Whoops, use last link actually, and have it be a bright. And use last link and have it be a dim. So it quickly runs me through, assigning my buttons. And in my living room, I'm going to say, I didn't have my hello scene. So let's just have it be living room, right? Living room cans, and have it be a toggle. So I can turn those on and off. Off is going to be done. Watch TV. What else do I have here? I didn't actually set anything up here. I might have the landscape lights being run by it. And that could be morning. And then use last link, right? Use last link, dim. Now, as you can see here, we have a button text column here. I can set up to create the custom engraved membranes for the 6 buttons or the custom engraved buttons for the 7 button. And we've got this capture engraving info. I can pick my font style, what's available, what's my size that I want it to be, and how do I want my text to be, uppercase only or upper and lower case. Now I can come in here and say, you know, whatever I want this to be, you know, even though I might have a scene name or something else, it might not be able to fit on the button. So and if you leave those blank, it'll, you know, you default to the up and down arrow. Now the thing is that when I finish this, it's going to say, hey, do I want to go and create the worksheet? So I'm going to say yes. Let's go ahead and do that. And it will allow me to save it in my UPB designs, under my documents, UPB design file. And it automatically grabs whatever you named the network. So I created this as a SNITS. It's the living room keypad. And I'm going to save that. So I could actually come to my Word. Let's go to my documents. My documents. Go to UPB, Designs, SNITS. Living room keypad. And what that'll do is that will actually give you the completely filled out form to send into PCS, and it'll have all of the buttons all filled in as it partly goes. So all of a sudden I've got my custom engraved membrane form, you know, kind of, and it's all kind of the advanced class, it's the living room, the white, the font size, the number of characters, and what the text is going to be. So that you can just shoot to us or write to Travel Electronics, and that's actually your form to create your order. Now another nice thing within UPStart, I'll just say done here. So let's say I've gotten all my 7-button keypad finished. Under File, we have the KPC CEV engraving worksheet. So, whoops, I know why I didn't do that. So if I go into my device itself, we now have a tab here called Engraving. So I had already picked it at Comic Sans 10 uppercase white. If I want to order this button, I actually check these. I want to check all of these. We also have the engraving help, which will tell you whatever your font size is, how many characters you can have. And if something is too long, it won't allow you out until you fix it. So I've tried to make this stop simple in doing things. So I can go ahead and save the file. Or no, I don't want to program this. So let's say I've gotten all of my engraving buttons done. I can pull up this little worksheet, and it'll show me what keypad it is, what button number it is, what's the text going to be on it, what the font is going to be, what size, and what case and what color you're looking for. So the nice thing is I can create the worksheet here. And this, because I might have more than one item, you know, I might have 40 or 50 buttons. This creates one very quick, easy text file that can be sent to us or to the engraving folks to get them all done. And I can also, you know, copy the worksheet to the clipboard and paste it into an Excel if I want to look at it that way, and a Word document, something along that nature. And the nice thing is that I can get in here and modify anything if I don't want to have this say done, you know, done. I can come in and change all of that very easily and very quickly. So that kind of takes us into a realm of the 7 buttons. The 6 buttons under the engraving. One of the tools that we've added is, depending on the size of your button, we've got the small button, what size do I want it to be? I try and have things being kind of more larger than anything. And personally, I like the Comic Sans function. Now, instead of typing everything out, I can just copy the link names, which I had already typed in underneath my keypad transmit table. So instead of having to retype everything in, now the interesting part is if I try and move on. Okay, so they all fit within the 6 level. The type just isn't going to fit, so it cut it all off. So, oops, sorry, I get a little carried away quickly. So I could fill in however I want to have this, filled out. And that's really it. And I can create the engraving worksheet just like we showed you a moment ago, and it will be saved in the file. And this one would say Smith's Kitchen Keypad. So Smith's Kitchen Keypad. You can label it anything you want, but to me it kind of makes some sense. So I want to keep myself on some track here. Oops. Now the other thing. In the way of opening your file, obviously you can open your existing file, which you've all been doing. You can create the new file, and you can also suck up all of the information out of an existing file. We are working on, upgrading the devices, so when we do upgrade or do upload, we will get the link names, which we are not able to do right now. And obviously we can use it on our own. Now, the wizard, the designer, we just kind of went through. It's 8 simple steps. Again, the contact info, the rooms, the devices, the scenes, assign the modes, and then we actually go in and then can use our link builder. Now, this is new for a lot of people. I think a lot of people in the past have used our drag and drop all lights, scene, and that. Depending on the size of your job, that's a lot of dragging and dropping to bring devices over into into it. I mean, picking one device here, no big thing, or a couple of devices. But if I've got 50 or 60 devices, that's a real time-consuming job. So under links, we have this new link scene builder, and what this will do is give you a little bit more list view of devices. So if I wanted to look at all lights, I can see that right now the living room cans is the only thing that's part of that scene. So I can double click on it, I can pick a controller, and I can come in and say, okay, I want the S4 button now in the living room. Even though it says it's used, I can reuse it. I'm going to reassign that button to be the all lights. What do I want my function to be? And I'll say this is going to be a deactivate. Okay, now the presets, I've got one in there. I could say add a preset. So if I've got a lot of devices, I can just highlight all the ones that I want it to be and bring them over, and then all of a sudden I can put in the lighting level that I want it to come to. So when this comes on, I want it to come on to 51%. I want it to do in 2 minutes. But this gives us a very quick and easy way to get multiple devices over to a scene. And then the indicators would be, what do I want the indicators to do? The LEDs behind the keypads themselves, what do I want them to do when I press on the S4 button? So all lights in this situation, I'm probably going to want to have everything else turn off when I do that. So turn it off, turn that off. And at that point, I would be done. And I now get a more visual look of, okay, here's my action. I'm sending a D, living room keypad. Yes, there's a deactivate button. Wow, do I really want the kitchen lights to go to 100%? Well, they're really not, even though it says 100%, because we're doing a deactivate. So the all light seen here on this button is a deactivate, but they would all go to 0. And again, we can come back to any one of the scenes and kind of get a visual look of what's going on with the device. So this landscape scene, it has the trigger, it has the result of the indicator, but it doesn't have a preset. So I could turn around and just grab my landscape light and have it come to 90%, and I'm done. So great, the S3 button in the living room triggers in landscape lights to turn on. So the link builder can really save you a lot of time, and will also give you, a very quick view of lighting levels and ramp rates and things like that of a large job. So we talked about these. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my file. There, the Smiths. Let's open up my house. Okay. And one of the things that I like to do is when I have more than about six items, I like to look in a list view. And I can say, view in a list or view the icons. So view list. So what this can do is give me the capability of sorting by any one of the titles. So I can put them in, chronological order of how they were added. I could sort them by the room. I could sort them alphabetically by device name. I could sort them by manufacturer. I could sort them by products. So this is really the easiest way for me to edit multi-devices. So let's say, like in my house, I've got a bunch of wall switches. And let's say I want to change the way the LEDs look. So when the light is on, I want it to be red, and when it's off, I want it to be blue instead of the standard just plain blue. So instead of going to each device, going into the wall switch and saying, options, red when load is on, blue when load is off, that's going to take a little bit of time. What I can do is I can modify like devices, but they have to be the same. So all the wall switches. So I highlight the top one, hold my shift button down, and grab all of these. I then right-click, and I say multi-edit. And yes, I'm sure I want to do this. So I'm now modifying Unit 104, the demo board, and 20 other devices. So I could come in here now and say the options, well, they said solid red. Well, not really. I want that to be red when the load is on, blue when the load is off, and my brightness is high. So do I want to program this? No, I don't recommend you do this because it's only going to program the 104, the demo board. It's not going to program the other 20 devices. So I don't program it now. And what usually ends up happening is they've all become red X's because I've modified them. Depending on if you verified your network when you started out, they would have been blue or blank if you didn't do anything. So that's a quick way to change things. Another nice thing is I can actually copy the configuration. So I could actually choose, and it's sort of by room name now. So I could add all of these devices, all these wall switches in the kitchen. I could multi-copy the configuration from the kitchen cans switch. So that would mean that, okay, I set up the one switch and I need now to do this. I want the same exact thing in every single switch load in the kitchen to match. I say, okay, well now they're all going to have the same receive component table, the different lighting levels that it's going to be at. So, that's a very quick way to change things around. I can do the same with like type keypad. So I can multi-edit, come in, and I can, change it. The D button, I've already got to say done. But I can do any function I do in one device, I can do it in many devices. Well, what do you do when I've got a lot of different devices here that need to be programmed? Instead of going to each one and saying program, 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 I can actually go to network and I could say program all modified. Don't want to do that. I really don't want to change my whole house over right now. But that will save you a bit of time as well, instead of, programming one at a time, sitting and waiting. You could, do this and continue on with something else on the project. One of the other things, we've got editing multiple devices. We can do the same with lamp modules, keypads, and we could also just copy one configuration of another by just saying, copy the configuration from another lamp module or something. Now, with the new 7-button keypad that we've come out with, a lot of people are changing the 6 buttons out to the new 7-button. So one of the things that we've done, I'm going to go offline here real quick, is that I'm going to add a device. I'm going to add a new wall switch, a new 7-button keypad controller. Okay, and I'm going to put this in the kitchen, and I'm going to call it the sink. All right, it's under device 32. I'm going to erase that configuration, so it's blank. All right. Now, in my kitchen, I have a keypad. Well, I got a wall switch by the sink. I do have a keypad, KPLD sync keypad. So this is a 6-button that, disposal, the kitchen off, all of that. I want to take this same configuration, and this is the only product that we can actually copy something different into. So I'm going to highlight my 7-button. I'm going to say copy the configuration of the 6-button that's in the kitchen. Keypad. Here's the other one. It's kind of like this. Where's my kitchen one? Okay. All right. And what it will do, it'll bring in all the functions. Oh, I know what it was. It's KPLD. And I'm going to answer that one. But it'll also bring in all of my IDs, the scene button. The only thing I'm not going to get is what was the D function, because this is the on, off, A, B, C. The D scene did not make it over because obviously I've got one less button in that fashion to go there. And that's what it is. I added a KPC7 and not a KPLD7. So let's just go ahead and do device add. I'm going to do a new KPLD7, which is a new product for us. We now have a 7-button keypad handling the load. KPLD7. Oops, I should name there, erase the configuration. And I'm now going to copy the configuration from the kitchen sink keypad. So all of a sudden, I can pull out my 6-button, put this one in. It has all of the functions, the disposal, kitchen 100%, just the sink light, the island, kitchen is off. My indicators come across, my load options, so I know that the load on this keypad is now going to have, all of that set up. The only thing I really lost is the dog run capability, turning the dog run light on and off from the keypad here, which is no big thing because I have another keypad over by the patio that handles that. So that's a nice little quick option function that we've added to UPStart. Now, over the years, a lot of people, when you get into your larger jobs, we have a lot of devices. So I'm just going to collapse the rooms, and I'm going to expand my links out. So let's say I've, created a scene, if you will, and it's kind of going to be, where's my done scene? Okay, so my done scene has a lot of devices in it, right? Pretty much has every single piece in my house on this device. But I want to create a scene that's almost like this, but not exactly. What I can do is I can right-click on Done, and I can say Link Copy. And it's going to grab, I'm going to call this one G Done, okay, for Georgette. And what it does is it grabs all of the receivers. It takes the transmitters out, but it gets rid of all of the receivers. So what I can do, and you can see the G Done scene here now, it's got all my receivers and the lighting levels that they were at. I can now come back to links and go to Link C Builder. I know it's one of my last scenes, G Done. Okay, I want to modify it, and I want to take out anything that's in my living room. So living room, the amp, living room corner lamp, the couch, the checker table, the corner lamp, table lamp, 2 elephant lights on the table, and that should be about it. Oops, living room green lamp. Where's the outside lights? Oh, I forgot those two. All right. And I'm going to remove the selected. So all of a sudden, all of those have been taken out of the scene. And what that now shows me is that I have a scene that turns everything on or turns everything off except the living room. So, when my wife hits her done button, it's still going to allow me to watch TV and leave the amp on and all that kind of fun stuff. So we can actually copy a link at this point within UPStart and manipulate that. And if I so chose that I can then add a controller, and I could go to, let's just say this demo board keypad, I could make that the off button, reuse it, and make it an activate for G Done. And off I go. And it set up that indicator, and I can set up more indicators later on. Now, so that kind of helps you with some quick and easy steps, time-saving functions. One of the other things a lot of people haven't used is a timed event controller. I actually use 2 in my house. One runs the basic timed events in the house, and I have another one that does just the sprinklers. I have a UPV sprinkler controller. So the TEC is a pretty straightforward item. You've got your ID tab. You put in the latitude and longitude, or you can choose, the state and a city within the state. The major cities. It's not really going to kill you for a couple minutes if you're out there. The important thing about the TEC is you need to make sure your TEC clock is set, and you program the sunrise sunset table. Because other than that, if you don't do that, it's not going to know where it is. Now, the events, I can turn around and I can have 20 events doing things, and we can add an event. So I go to the 19th event. What do I want to do? What's the action? I want to activate something. Do I want to turn it on, or do I want to turn it off? Now, I can also go to 100% or go to 0, because I might actually have a activate scene or a scene. It's just basically a group that I want to have everybody in that go to 0 instead of to their levels. So usually people use the activate and deactivate. So I'm going to activate the scene of G done. Where's G? No, we'll just pick one. The demo living room on a date. I can do it every day. I can do it just Monday to Friday. I can just do it on the weekends, or I can pick specific weeks, specific days. Or I can actually do something on a date. So like on a birthday or a holiday or something along that nature, start to do something. I can do it at a specific time, at or before or after sunrise or sunset by X amount of minutes. And I can vary that, so I can actually kind of do a vacation type of a thing. And in plain English, the demo living is activated on this date. No, I'm going to do it every day. Every day at sunset. Now let's say I didn't want the living room to activate on sunset. Because for some reason, I can actually do a suspend function. And the suspend function basically means if I've deactivated another scene, I could basically make it a flag scene. If that scene is deactivated, do not run the demo living room scene. So just go here. I think I have a flag in here. No, let's just create a new one, a new link. We'll call it flag. Okay. So if the timer flag is deactivated, the demo living will activate every day at sunset, suspend on the flag timer. Okay? So I'll come back and tell you how we set up the keypad to do that. But I can add, I can modify things, I can come back in, I could do, you know, as you can kind of see here, I've got stuff for Christmas lights, turn the heat on, and on and off at 3 a.m. And sometimes I do that. Now, the event enables actually will let you know if a timer event is enabled or disabled very quickly by just saying get the suspend state. So it goes out to all the different devices that it's set up to talk to, and it'll come back and tell me if I'm suspended or not, but it's not going to do that because I'm not online. So now, we all know about our advanced and that kind of thing. So what I can do here, and I'll come back online. All right. So come back on my TEC. I can show you the suspend state. So all of these timer events are enabled. Now, let's kind of take an advanced step here and go to a keypad. I start off as keypad. And I'm going to change this number 1 to be the flag, the timer flag. Okay, and I'm going to make this be a toggle button because I want to activate or deactivate my timer events, right? Now, on the indicators, let's just clear that. I would change that to my flag. We have this nice little thing down here called copy links. So I clear them all, copy. So whatever's in my transmit table shows here. So this is my number 1 button. What I want this to do is I want to have this do the opposite, meaning, and I can get my help here, when I activate the command, I want the LED to turn off. When I deactivate the command, I want to turn the LED on. And this is kind of some reverse logic because, you know, when people look at a keypad and a light is lit up, they're saying, oh, that's what's happening. So I actually want my light to be off when it's activated, and I want the LED on the keypad to be lit up when it's deactivated. So I know that my timer flag is now suspended, that timed event. So I hope that hasn't totally confused everybody, but that's just kind of the simple and easy way to make that happen. All right. So we talked about the TECs. We talked about some time-saving steps. Let's talk about an input and an output module and some of the fun things that we can do with that. So let's go back to the Smiths file. Let's not change my house. And I do not want to verify my system. I'm going to come back offline, and I'm going to add an input device. Appliance. Where is it? Input control. ICM. And I'm going to add an output control as well. OCM. All right. So these two devices can be used in a variety of different ways, and there's some feature sets in each of these that you can take advantage of to actually kind of do some conditional logic. The basis of the input module is when I get a input, right? If I get a normally open input, it's going to activate the link upon the close event and deactivate upon the open event. All right? What link do I want to have it go do? Well, I can actually have this trigger, all the lights. I can have it trigger. I'm going to create a new link here, and I'm going to call it the motion flag. Because what I'm going to do is show you how we can do using, say, a driveway sensor on the input module to go turn on. Actually, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, when somebody comes in on a driveway sensor, go turn on some lights. But if it's during the day, don't do that. Okay? So it's actually, I'll call this driveway lights. All right? So I'm going to trigger the driveway lights when I get the input. And then have them turn off 10 minutes later. Okay? So what we can do on this is, on the receive table, I can actually have this input work or not work depending on if it got a command from something. So I'm going to create a new link here saying daytime. All right? So if I receive the daytime link and activating this link disables the input, and deactivating this link disables, okay, so enables the input. I want to do this as nighttime. Enables the link, enables the input, and deactivating the link disables the input. Okay. So what we would then do is use our TEC to create a nighttime scene, right? At sunset, nighttime is transmitted. It activates nighttime. It enables this input. And deactivating, we would create another timed event that says nighttime deactivate. So only when it's dark would this input work. Okay? I think we can kind of understand that. Now, you're saying, but Scott, you said it's only going to stay on for 10 minutes. Well, this is where the output module can come into play, because we don't have an auto-off timer built into the input module. So on the output module, what I would do is I would create one of these channels would be part of the what the heck do I call it? Gosh, sorry. I just had a brain failure. Transmit driveway lights. Okay. So the driveway lights, receive channel is going to be part of the driveway lights. Okay, and it's going to turn on. So at night, when somebody comes over the input, it's going to turn them on. This output module, that contact is going to close. It's not connected to anything. But what I can do is under my transmit components table of my output module, when I receive the driveway lights, or upon the auto time shutoff event, I'm going to have the driveway lights deactivate. Okay? And what I can do is I can set up my timed auto shutoff that says, once I receive the signal, 10 minutes later, turn off. So the events that end up happening is this module is part of the driveway lights scene as well. It's going to be activated. And upon my 10-minute timeout, it's going to transmit the deactivate command for driveway lights. Okay, so I receive driveway lights, start my clock timer, and then go and shut it off. And that's how we can end up having, using a TEC, an ICM, and an OCM, give you some minimal amount of some conditional logic. And there's a variety of other things that we can do with those, but we're kind of running out of time here a little bit. So some neat features on that. Now, one of the big things is a lot of people say to me, Scott, do I really need a split days repeater in a system or not? What I'm going to do is I'll open my file back up again. In my house, in the garage, I actually have a fixture module that turns the power on and off at a split days repeater because I can. So in the garage, let's go to the SPR, device number, and we'll do a COM test to it. Okay, I got to be online. All right, split phase repeater. I can do my COM test to it, and we can see how well we're communicating from my office down to the output. So I got 57 down and 111 back here. Now the fixture module for the garage, I'm going to tell it to turn off. And we can come back to the repeater, and I can do a COM test. And we can see that it's going to fail. All right? So it's not, doesn't work. It failed. So we now know it's off. Now this is where I kind of like to show some folks how well I can communicate with different things. And I've got, let's scroll this by the devices here outside. I've got the simply automated receptacle module. When I want to talk to it, okay, I'm talking 39 and 42, okay? And this is one of the places that's kind of far away from my PIM. And 39 and 42, I'll come back and I'll turn the repeater back on. I get my status. I know it's back on. And I'll come back to my outside. And I will now do a COM test again. '40 and 70. So you can actually see that we almost doubled our signal strength with the repeater of what's going on. So the other thing that I want to do is when you're, say you finally finished your system, you've got it all designed, set up, you need to certify it. I like to do a couple different tests the network comm test will do my signal strength from my PIM. So the PimIP, wherever it's at, it'll go out and go and talk to every single device. So the checker table, I got 44 and 41. Front door keypad, I think, is out right now. 20 and 43. So it'll go through all 49 of my devices and give me these readouts. We're going to stop this in efficiency. So we got 44, 41, 20, and 43 from the first couple of items. All right, so let's stop this. So I can get a quick view of, how well everything's communicating from the PIM. So the stairs, number 10, has only got an 18. All right. Another test I can do is what I call the repeater comm test. And what that will show me is how well the repeater, which is at my main panel, I've got a sub panel as well. I wanted to talk to the first, select none, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I can save this file. But what we're going to do here is have the repeater talk to these devices. So device number 2, when we went from the PIM, it was a 44 and a 41. We have a 56 and 119. Device 10 was the other one that was pretty low at 20 and 43. So what this will come and show me is the repeater that's at the top of the food chain within the electrical wiring is actually talking a lot louder to everything than going from the PIM directly. So these are the tests that I like to run when I certify my system. So give me another sec. And number 5, I think, is a lamp module that is unplugged at this moment in time. And we can actually see that there's a little bit of noise on these two devices, number 6 and 7. Nothing over here, 9, and let's wait for 10, and we'll get 20 to, it was 20 and 43, and number 10, A to B, 65, and this should be actually a lot larger, 75. So we've almost doubled, we tripled the A to B and almost doubled the B to C, or B to A. So all of a sudden you can kind of see Ohm's law in play in real time. Now the nice thing that we also have for you for sign-off, and we've changed a variety of different things in our file print. We've actually added, if you fill in the installer section, you can fill in the client's name. It gives you the network name, ID, and the password. It will give you a list of all of the devices in your system. And from there, we now start listing them in device name, but it's chronological. It will also show me what stage the devices are on, what firmware version is in them. So I still have some Generation 1 devices in my house. Anything 5 and 0 is higher is Generation 2. It'll give it to you list in the device name order, room name order, and then what it will do is come down and start to show you the keypads and the whole printout of, okay, this is the button, this is what the text is going to be on it, this is what scene is actually being sent from it, and what the mode is going to be and what the link number is. And this does this for every keypad. It will also show you what fonts you're using, the size, what kind of case, upper and lower. So this will actually give you a total checkoff list for your clients. And those are the keypads. And then I can actually look at my timed event controllers. It'll tell me activate goodnight every night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11:45. I should be in bed. So it'll show you all of your different timed events. And then it will show you your links. So link number 1 is Our Kitchen 100. Here are the devices that trigger it. I'm actually using the table lamp in the dining room as a custom rocker to turn on the kitchen at the same time. All of these devices go to those levels in that amount of seconds, and these are the LEDs. So this actually gives you the whole printout of what you have programmed. So, to me, this is the CYA form. Mrs. Jones, this is what we talked about, this is what we have programmed, and this is what is actually in everything. And this way, you can, obviously you can keep a copy of this for yourself. You can give this to the client. It's choose. But if I was to come into my house, because I took the job over from somebody else, I could go suck all this information up. But the only thing I'm not going to get are the names here, where it says demo all on, all off, living outside. Those names, I just don't have enough room within the devices to keep those names today. So we are looking at expanding that. One of the other tools that we have, which is a kind of a neat little thing, and I thought it was under here, but it's under View. It's a little thing called the Inspector. So what that can give us is a very quick view. If I hover over a device, I can see the 16 links. So this kitchen fountain light is in these 7 links, what the levels are, what they're going to. The transmit is not being used. The switch trigger is enabled. The timed auto off is not being used. I can look at this as the keypad, transmit and receive tables, all of the indicators. So I can kind of look at a variety of different things very quickly, which is a nice way to kind of check things. And, you can pin this thing down, or you can, it's not going to move, or you can move it around, just so you can kind of see what's happening. So I think in the communication tabs, we kind of talked about that. Input and output. One of the other things that I think a bunch of people missed out on is if I'm working, if I want to check how well a keypad talks to everything it's supposed to talk to, I can go into our visual link editor and I can say to it, hey, Mr. Keypad, go check the column with those receivers. So this keypad's talking to all of those, run the comm test, and will turn around and give me the signal strength of how well I'm communicating to each of the devices, so I can make sure that I've got, my signal everywhere. And this is an advantage that we've got over a variety of the other technologies as well. So you can actually walk away knowing that everything is communicating properly. And, I could have saved this as a file, and I could have documented it, electronically and or on paper for the client. So we can kind of show everybody what's going on with this. And we can do that, one to multiple devices under the visual link editor. However, under the tools, I could do device-to-device tests. So I go device to device, and I can pick any one of my devices. I can sort this by unit ID, device name, room type, the type of device. So, I can go to my keypad, by my bedroom, I can go to the yellow room light specifically and run a comm test between those two. And so I've got good signal, and that's basically across the upstairs, and both of those items are on the same phase. So you can use that as a determination of when you're talking from device to device. Am I in the same phase? Am I not? Do I have a coupler? Don't I have a coupler? That kind of a thing. So, and I think save the reports. We did this, and contest. Okay, again, 20 lessers or higher is your goal in the way of signal strength. A device will work if it's at 18, or excuse me, at 8. I do like to see 13 or above. You know, and again, all of these tests can be documented. You can display them out, all the different things. We just showed you the device to device. And, you know, we all talked about the documentation. It gives you all of the different functionalities of everything. So, you know, with that being said, I've kind of come to the end of what I've got, as I call the advanced programming. If anybody's got any questions, I will be available here. For you folks all taking your time, spending your hour and a half with us here today, everybody can qualify for what I call the Get Started Now program. We do value your time. This kit has got an insane discount. It's almost half of what it would cost you as a dealer. It includes 4 wall switches. We've actually changed the keypad to a KPC 7, so you can get one of the new keypads and play with it, a PIM and a phase coupler. You do have to be an authorized dealer or distributor with us to get one of these. You can get these through us, or you can get it through your distributor. We just basically verify that you've attended, and we can go. Okay. And the version of ApptStart, you have to have a version 33 or higher. The version I have is build 59. I believe on the website at this moment is 58. We had a couple of changes here. But you do have to have a username and password to log into ApptStart, to get ApptStart, to download it. So again, if you just go to our resources tab, because I got so much stuff running here, my processor is a little doggy slow. But if you go to resources here, create an account, and once you've logged in, you can come to downloads, and that'll take you to what do you want information on. I mean, we have tons of documentation out here. And the software that's on the website right now is build 58. Okay, I had a little bit of a thing. So the version 6.033 or higher will enable us to use the PimIP. I got a couple different questions here. So let me say, this will be a video at this point. I can hear, okay, I'm not sure. PimIP. What kind of web security does the PimIP support? Are passwords used for security? Yes. There is a password to get into the unit. Engraving. I would talk with the dealer. I don't know if we've got dealers or end users on here. But I can send you something. We got build 58, and the price of the kit is actually pretty off. Like I said, half off. And one of the questions is, will all of your old projects or all your old files migrate into your new version of ApptStart? And the answer is yes. We're always backwards compatible on that. So, you know, when I open up a file, when I open up a network file, we can look at the ApptStart. I've actually got files from clients that go back a bunch of years. Okay, so 2007. And there they are. So, yes, all your files will come in. So, other than that, if we've got other questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. Thought processes, or you'd like to see me program something, you know, that's a little out in left field, I'll be here for the next few moments to help you out. But other than that, want to say thank you again. If you haven't filled out our authorized dealer information, we do have a form. We'll get you listed on our website. You can contact us at our 800 number or PCS sales at pcslighting.com. I'd like to thank you again for your time. This copy of this webinar will be available on the website under webinars. So again, thanks for your time. I don't think we've got any other questions here. So we'll say thanks. And have yourself a great day. We'll see you at another webinar soon.